Hey! Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing from the DC Universe Classics line, the Connect and Collect figure, Green Lantern, Kilowog. Take a look at this green big boy right here. A little information about Kilowog. Well, Kilowog's a Green Lantern, and as you can see, he's not human. No, Green Lantern is an alien. Exactly what his alien race is called escapes me, and also I can't pronounce it for the life of me. Half the words in the Green Lantern comic I can't pronounce because they're all alien languages and words and all that junk. But I know his race's name begins with a B, so that's something. But yes, what his race is escapes me right now. Not a big point. But Kilowog, on his home planet, was a scientist, a gifted mind, a very intellectual individual, which you wouldn't guess if you ever saw Kilowog talk and push people around, because he can come off as a brute sometimes. But Kilowog was a very gifted individual. And then the Green Lantern of his sector died, and he got the ring. Now, unlike a lot of people that become Green Lanterns, he didn't see this as a burden or an early death warrant or a duty that he has to do. Kilowog saw this as an honor, a great honor. To become a Green Lantern is a very huge thing to his people. So he takes it with pride, and he becomes a great Green Lantern. He also becomes a drill sergeant for all future Green Lanterns, teach them how to, ring sling and all that kind of thing. Ring sling is, using the ring. I know, they have unique terminologies for it. But he becomes a drill sergeant, and he trains some of the best Green Lanterns that ever come into existence. After the crisis on Infinite Earth, his people's planet was basically doomed, and he took all of the people on that planet and he put it in his ring. Pretty intense. He did so that he could find a new planet to put these people on so that they wouldn't die. And he does so, but the people die anyway. I forget why, but they do die. Pretty intense. So Kilowog is pretty much the last of his race, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know if that fact is still canon, but it's something worth pointing out. Kilowog, despite this, stays loyal to the Green Lantern Corps until Hal Jordan gets off his meds. Nah, I'm just kidding. Hal Jordan gets possessed by Parallax, and because of this, he goes on a rampage and destroys the Green Lantern Corps. Oa, Guardians, everything. He just goes to town. Boom, 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 boom. And Kilowog loses his powers. And we don't really see Kilowog at all until the Green Lantern Corps is returned, when Kyle Rayner helps rebuild Oa, bring the Guardians back, and re-energize the Green Lantern ring. And he yet again becomes a Green Lantern member. And yet again he becomes the drill sergeant for the Green Lantern Corps. Kilowog also played an important part in the Sinestro Court War, fighting on Mogo, the giant Green Lantern planet. He fought on that, played an essential role in that, and has since been an essential member to the Green Lantern. And you notice how I say he's an essential member throughout this whole entire review, and that's the case. He's very essential. Not only is he badass, but he also trains a lot of Green Lanterns. One of which being a certain someone, I don't know if you've heard of him, Hal Jordan. Yeah. So Kilowog is important, not just to the Green Lanterns as a heavy hitter, but also to the Green Lanterns as a teacher. So, that's a little information about Kilowog. Power and ability-wise, well, he has all the standards and powers and abilities of a Green Lantern wielding a Green Lantern ring, being able to create constructs and various different energies using his mind. The Green Lantern's power varies depending on who writes them and also what era it's in. The Silver Age, the Green Lantern can do about anything. And it's a little dumbed down now and more logical now. But he has all the powers and abilities of a Green Lantern. In addition to that, in comparison to a human, Kilowog's race has pretty much super strength, super speed, and durability. So with that said, let's just jump into the figure itself. So this is Kilowog. Kilowog is a connect and collect figure. That means you would have to buy several different figures and collect and connect them. Ha 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 ha. Yes, but he is a collect and connect figure. So it's not like you can just go out and buy this guy, or go on Amazon and buy this guy. Trust me, I tried. I really didn't want to collect all the figures to get him. But Yes, you have to collect all the figures to get him. A total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 figures to build this bad boy. Before we actually talk about the whole going out and buy him, let's talk about the figure itself, articulation, looks, and all that junk. When I heard they were doing a kilowog figure in this wave, I was ecstatic because I love Kilowog. He's a cool looking guy. He kind of looks like a pig that is just constantly pissed off. You don't notice it? Look at that. He's just, that's not a smile. That is definitely a frown. That's definitely a frown. But Kilowog just looks like a complete badass, and he's a huge figure too. So when I heard they were going to make Kilowog into a Collecting Connect figure, I said, thank you God, thank you so much, that is awesome. And I did not get disappointed. Kilowog is wearing his classic Green Lantern uniform, which he has worn throughout his whole entire tenure as a Green Lantern. He hasn't changed it up as much as, say, Hal Jordan or Kyle Rayner has. He stays pretty much consistent with a Silver Age-like look, which it basically looks like Hal Jordan's costume, only a little different at the top. You know, the white gloves, the full body singlet, the shoulders, and then the boots. So yeah, you can see the Green Lantern ring right here, and the Green Lantern ring is a little bit of a darker green than the rest of the body, but it still looks really badass. It almost looks metallic, but not quite. It's not metallic, but it looks kind of metallic. So it's kind of cool that they make it look actually like jewelry. Articulation-wise, he has all the standard articulations of a DC Universe Classic figure, with the exception of the quadriceps articulation, which he doesn't have, you know, being able to move the quadriceps side to side. But other than that, he has all the standard articulations of a DC Universe Classic figure, which is good. That's what we want. So good articulation. The paint scheme on this guy is fantastic, especially on the face. The eyes are very nicely detailed. You get a lot of shadowing detail in the face that really has a lot of definition to it. The body is nicely painted with the green, the black, and the white. They don't really do any shadowing detail on this guy, maybe a little, but not enough for it to really stand out. So the paint looks good. There's no smudging. My hand's in the way. There's no smudging. There's no screw up. But it's not overly impressive when it comes down to the body. The high point to this figure is definitely the face. Now, like I said, this is a big Collect and Connect figure. Not the tallest, but definitely probably the biggest in width along with height. Let me just take out good old John Stewart right here. As you can see, there's a big height difference. And that's a good thing. Kilowog's a big dude, and we want big figures. So I'm glad that they went out of their way to make him a Collect and Connect figure, and not some overgrown figure like the Bane we got from DC Superheroes, which is fine for Bane, but wouldn't be good for Kilowog. So, on a whole, whether or not you should get him, let me just say right now, I like this Connect and Collect figure. Probably my favorite. Beforehand, my favorites were like Solomon Grundy or Gorilla Grodd. I thought they were great figures. But Kilowog really just puts them all to shame. He's just so simplistic in some areas and so well detailed in other areas that it just balances out nicely and it looks like a badass figure. You do have to go out and buy 6 other figures to pick up this guy. But the good thing about that is, with the exception of one figure being the Shark, all the other figures are good figures. Deadman, Question, Cyborg, Superman, Catman Tui, Katma Tui, John Stewart, all of them are good figures, so it's not like you're buying crappy figures to get this figure. You're going to be getting good figures along with this figure. In this time and day, money is hard to come by. So, you may not be able to flush down the toilet the money that's needed to pick up this figure. I recommend checking eBay first. Sometimes people sell Collect and Connect figures on eBay for a fairly good price. That way you don't have to go out and get all the other figures. If you do intend on picking up all the other figures, then that's great. You're going to get Kilowog. It's going to be cool. Although I do think he's the best Collect and Connect figure, it really comes down to discretion for you guys. Whether or not you have the money to throw around. And whether or not you were going to pick out these figures or not. So again, it's really discretion coming down to you. But let me just say, I'm really happy that I pulled out for this guy. It was well worth it. And I do think he's probably, pound for pound, the best Collect and Connect figure right now. Which is saying a lot because I have a lot of love for the Gorilla Grodd figure. That's a great collection, man. Also. So, Kilowog, great figure. Use your discretion on whether or not you want to go out and collect him, but I would actually say he's worth it. It's worth putting in the money. I do recommend, though, if you're going to pick up a figure, do it now, because this wave is starting to become less and less, and you're going to have to go out and actually search for the figures now. They're not in full distribution as they were beforehand. Places I recommend going are New Bay Comics and Toys R Us. That's where I see the figures the most, so if you want to pick them up, I recommend going there. But with that said, Kilowog, badass individual, badass figure, badass incorporated. This is Andrew saying, peace out for now.